boy. Good boy.
Hi guys, I've just got back from a short run, and I thought I would just come to you with another video talking about how I stay creative, how I stay healthy, how I stay sane, basically. That's the way to ensure that you consistently are creating, is to have practices that help to keep you creative, keep you happy. So let's get to the video. So while I stretch off, let's talk about how I stay creative, healthy and sane. It's important as creatives to have these practices, this is Joey, to have these practices that help us to maintain our creativity, because anyone who has tried to be a writer or anything else will know that creativity is something that can become depleted, not because you use too much creativity, so that's something that people often get wrong. It's not from using too much of it, it's just by you not being okay. When you are somebody who works a job that maybe you don't like, or you know, a stressful job, or you have kids and you have a lot of different tasks and things taking your attention and causing you stress, then of course you are going to be somebody who feels creatively burnt out often, and therefore you have to find ways to refill your cup. My ways, firstly, are mostly yoga. So this is the only form of exercise that I do consistently. I try to do it every day. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And for me, a big thing is done is better than perfect. So it doesn't matter if all I did was a 10-minute yoga session. It doesn't matter if all I did was a slow, like yin yoga. What matters is that I showed up and I did it, because that's more important than not doing it at all. And for me, yoga is also connected to my mental health, my physical health. It helps me connect like spiritually as well. I often do journaling afterwards, which I guess is point number 2. I like to journal because journaling is a way to empty my head. It's a way to check in with myself. It's a way to ensure that my voice is being used, because as an introverted person, I do feel like sometimes I'm not speaking up for myself as much, I'm not talking as much, because I just like to stay quiet. I'm the quiet person, and my journal's a way of, you know, exercising my voice, expressing myself if I'm not doing my writing as well. So that's a great way, and I think that all writers should be journaling, because it helps you to figure out what you think and who you are, I guess. And I'd say that if you do struggle with your mental health, then writing is something that you want to be doing. Sorry, just getting the stretches in. Number 3, I would say, is that I like to read. So I think that reading is such a beautiful, gentle practice that it's almost therapeutic. So it's really good for your mental health to be a reader. I think it's a great way to disconnect from the buzz of the outside world and just slip into a different world. It can be a form of escapism for some people, myself included, especially when you find a really good book that drags you in. So that's another way for me to kind of find healing and calmness. And I like to read after work, I like to read before bed. It helps me to have a good routine. And for me, obviously as a writer as well, reading is so important. Like, how are you supposed to copy and create something when you don't know how it looks? So as a writer, if you're somebody who wants to write books, you're going to have to read books. I'm not saying there's a certain amount of books you have to read or a certain type of book you have to read, not at all. I'm not snobby like that. I think that anything that gets a person reading is important. I'll do another video about that, but yeah, reading will be my other one. Number 4 would be other forms of exercise. So like I say, I've just been for a run. I am not a runner. My husband is a runner. He's out doing a run right now, and he runs like 10k, that's like his normal run, 5ks, 20k, he's done a half marathon. Like, he likes to run, but me, I just like to do it sometimes. I'm trying to become routine with it, but as long as I do it at least a little bit, it's better than nothing at all. And today I think I ran 1.5, which is nothing to some people, but for me, again, done is better than perfect. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to become a runner, so it doesn't matter if I do a short run. What makes me feel good is going out and getting fresh air, getting my heart rate higher, and, you know, clearing my head in that way as well. My husband likes to run with music, but I just run with nothing, with the silence, because I like being able to hear my breath. I know it sounds weird, but it reminds me that I'm alive. It reminds me that I'm actually raising my heart rate, which I don't do often, so the fact that I can hear myself being breathless, like, okay, great, it's working. And I like to just go and have like a conscious thinking session, and also to look around at nature, spot a squirrel and smile to myself. Like, that feels really good, and that fills my creative cup as well, because I don't know, there's something about the endorphins that you get from running or from other forms of exercise that helps you to come home and you're like, right, I want to create, hence this video. Or, hey, I just feel good about myself, basically. And I think that people can become a bit stuck and like, oh, I have to go to the gym to exercise. No, if you don't like the gym, I don't like the gym, I hate the gym, don't go. Just find whatever way of exercising consistently that makes you happy, that brings you joy, because showing up is the most important part of exercise, right? And I have been on and off with a lot of different types of exercise, but the ones that I've maintained the most, like I said earlier, was yoga, and also doing runs every now and then. When I don't have goals for running, it actually works better, because I think the goals bring too much pressure. And then also Nike workouts, so I use the Nike app, the Nike training app, and that helps me to see my progress as well, because you see it like adding up and everything, which is, and you get these badges, which feels really nice, a bit of a reward for doing the exercises. And again, like if I do a 5-minute workout before work, it's not a big deal. I'm really happy and proud of that, because at least it's something. I still get achy from those workouts sometimes, because even just using the muscles for a short period of time is still really good for you. And I would recommend, if you're somebody who does struggle with routine exercise, it's probably because you're setting a really high like metric for success, that you have to do what this thing over here is what really fit people do. But you don't need to do that. You can be somebody who does dancing, somebody who does yoga, somebody who does running, somebody who does swimming, somebody who does climbing. Like, there's so many different forms of exercise. Don't limit yourself by thinking there's only one thing to do. Find what works for you, do it in the comfort of your own home, in your pajamas if you want to. Who cares? As long as you're doing it, that's what matters most. So those are the main things. But then other things that I do are things like talking to my husband, talking to my friend, playing with this little fella. He makes me really, really happy and keeps me feeling healthy, because having him to come home to, who's always excited to see you, feels, like there's no other feeling like it, because it's like, you could have a crap day, come home from work, and he's just smiling, and it's like, well, I can't help but smile as well, so that's really nice. I like to play games. I don't play games often, but I like to play either Scrabble or play on the PlayStation with my husband. That can be really fun to just switch off. But also, when it comes to like playing a game on the PlayStation, they often have a narrative as well, which helps me to feel creative. I like to always be thinking about my creativity. So my rule is that actively writing isn't the only way to be creative. Actively writing isn't the only way that your story builds. Instead, you can build a story by obviously by thinking about the story, by taking notes while you're on your lunch break at work, taking notes on your phone when you walk into work, whatever. Like, you can have ideas from anywhere. The difference between somebody who has a great story idea and somebody who doesn't is simply they captured the little random ideas that they had in their head. So I bet all of us have random ideas all the time, but we just don't write them down. And a lot of them will be rubbish, but it doesn't matter. You can filter through those results later. Instead, capture all the ideas, build on the ideas, actively sit and like, okay, I've got half an hour after lunch, I've eaten my food. What I can sit here right now and think about my character and take some notes. I can sit and think about the world or the magic system and take some notes. Those things count. They are you being creative. They are you working on your story. Don't discount those moments, because again, if you set too high of a standard for what creativity needs to be, what writing needs to be, then all you do is create this chore for yourself, this expectation that's too high, and then you become rigid and you become upset. And I think that the way to be consistent with creativity and to consistently feel motivated and healthy and sane with what you're doing and this journey that you're on is to know that showing up in any capacity is more important than not showing up at all. And that you could probably set goals for a week rather than a day. Instead of saying that I need to write today every single day, instead of saying, okay, I didn't write today, that's fine, but maybe I thought some notes, I'll write tomorrow. It's fine, it's fine. So those are my few ways that I stay creative, that I stay motivated, that I stay feeling healthy and happy and, you know, sane basically on this journey as a writer. It's not easy. There's times where you feel really low and you're not writing often, times where you feel really excited and motivated and you can't stop. It's okay. There are ebbs and flows in life. As long as you're putting your self-care first, hopefully you will consistently show up in some form in whatever way works for you, and that's all that matters. Thank you for listening, guys. Don't forget to like this if you enjoyed it, and I'll check in with you next week. Bye guys, keep writing, keep reading.